Welcome back to another episode. So as you can see, the engine and gearbox are out. You can see the drive pins now, which fit into this rubber coupling on the rotary engine. I'm changing the gearbox for the 3 forward speed one, because this is just 1 forward, 1 reverse, and it's just too tall. So we're changing that, and also I'm trying to get a bit more efficiency out of the engine. So this, I think, is not really necessary. It's kind of something to protect you putting your fingers in on the fan, but of course when it's mounted to the gearbox, the only bit you can put your fingers in is in here, and you'd have to be pretty determined to put your fingers in there when it's all together, and you'd have to have quite long fingers to get to the fan from where these holes are. Anyway, so I'm also going to take the engine apart. I'm going to try and cut a bit of the original engine mount apart, just so I can use it as an extra heat soak, because obviously this face mounted to this side of the engine, which is the rotor housing, is that middle section, just to get a bit more efficiency, really, a bit more thermal efficiency. So yeah, removing that should make a difference as to how much air can go through, or make air less restricted. And going to pull this apart, just check the seals, make sure everything's good in there. So after removing a few sections, cover, flywheel, fan, points and condenser, we're left with the main sort of rotor, which is actually quite light. It's all aluminium with the 2 sides. See, it's got a bit of end float now, because this is the bearing which controls end float on the crankshaft. And once you remove that casing, that's what dictates the end float. So let's pull these bolts out and take it apart. So this is the rotor, which you can see here is just sort of fully floating. Crankshaft is still attached to this side, and these are the rotor seals which go in these grooves. These are the apex seals at the top. Everything looks okay, so I'm just going to give it a bit of a clean up and see if I can spot any wear, measure the end float, make sure everything's exactly as it's supposed to be for the specification. So this is the rotor section. You see my hand, it's not actually that big. Everything looks okay, so I'm just going to go ahead go ahead and check all the seals, measure them, measure the bearings and the journals and everything, and make sure it's all within tolerance still while it's apart. Bits everywhere. These are some of the bits from the 125 engine, and that's the old gearbox case and the clutch and the barrel and the stator, and the engine is back in now with 3-speed gearbox, which is basically the engine that was at Le Mans with the rotary engine attached to it. Changed the seals in that, just gave it a quick freshen up, because I had some spare seals, lots of bits left over. That's the old cylinder head and crankshaft from the other engine. That's the gearbox cases and the clutch and the barrel. These are all the bits that I don't need. Now I've got the 3-speed in the car.